aesthetically pleasing to have a tight waist. Like we all want it. Look slim, look aesthetic or whatever the fuck. It's cool. Um, but aside from that, there are actually health benefits to having a slimmer waist. And if you didn't already know, you're more at risk and you're more susceptible for many other diseases and like risks of bad health if you have a waist over 40 inches as a man and over 35 inches as a woman. All right. So in today's podcast, we're going to dive in and talk about a couple of simple tips, three simple tips to reduce the size of your waist and of course ensure you look a little bit slimmer, a little bit more aesthetic, and of course to ensure that you're actually healthy. Okay, so stick around, stay tuned. You know what the fuck is up, you know what's good. We're gonna be dropping some value today. All right, so I'm gonna be giving you guys and girls three simple tips to lose a couple inches around your waist and to get a little bit of a flatter stomach. All right, so that's what today's podcast is going to be about. And as normal, I want to let you guys and girls know that you're welcome to drop comments, questions, and if your comments or questions are a little bit too private, feel free to DM me at any point in time before or after the live stream or podcast recording, and I'll help you understand as best as I can on a one-to-one level. Okay. So without wasting any other time, I'm going to set up the podcast over here. Let me know how your day is going before I dive in. Like I'm going to read this now. I'm going to read these comments and stuff now before I dive in, because once I dive into the podcast, I won't be able to talk to you guys until after the recording. Homie says Kawhi Leonard mixed with Kevin Durant. It's been a long time since I heard that, but I get that a lot. You're funny, bro. I appreciate you. Deep Fried Spaghetti says, have a good day, man. I appreciate you, Deep Fried Spaghetti. What's good? One Direction fan Harry says, do you like Harry Styles? Not what this topic is about, so I'm not answering that. I don't listen to them if you wanted to know anyway. Rahul, what's good? I hope you're doing good. I hope you're having a sick day. Jason, what's good? John, yeah. I see how people. All right, whenever you join, you're more than welcome to drop a comment or question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But without wasting any other time, we are going to dive in to today's podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome to the Natural Nomad podcast, where we keep it real about how we feel and what we deal with in life. This is the number one podcast for anyone on this planet, country, or nation who wants to make an amazing mental and physical natural transformation. Disclaimer, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, not because I want to be mean, but because I fucking respect you. So, if you tune in and decide to give me the time out of your life that you know you'll never get back, the very least I can do for you is keep it a stack. Now that that's out the way, let's chat with IFBB Pro Matt Butale. Let's get raw, nomads. What's good, chess bras, chess broads? You know what's good. Whatever the fuck you identify as, you are welcome here, as long as you're bringing positivity and good energy, and you're willing to learn. Okay. Before we dive into it, I want to let you know you don't have to air your dirty laundry out on the live stream. If you have questions that are a little bit too personal, questions that are a little bit too private, you can feel free to DM me at any point in time during this podcast or after this podcast if you're watching the recording. I just want to let you know that. Also, if you want to watch the replay in the best quality, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn on post notifications, which is MATT space BUTALE, Matt Butale. And you also will be able to get to see how I live my life outside of social media, like how I meal prep, how I train, and just the bullshit that I do in real life, because I'm actually a savage in real life. Those of you that know me in real life already know that. So without wasting any time, we're going to dive into it. 3 simple tips to slim your waist without training abs. Okay, so like I personally will tell you this: I don't train abs. Some people are gonna hate me, some people are not gonna hate me, but it's cool. I don't train abs, and you don't really have to train abs if you want to, get a flatter stomach or tighten your waist, shrink your waist, and reduce inches around your waist. Right? Most of it is due to your nutrition. I'm just gonna lay that out there. Let's keep it a stack. But aside from that, there are 3 golden tips, 3 diamonds that I'm going to drop today in today's podcast that I personally believe are goated, that you must be able to take actionable action on. Okay, these are actionable tips. I want you guys and girls to take it to heart, take it to your brain, and download it and implement it. Because again, why else are you here? Like, don't you want free value? You want free information? Like, these are questions you guys and girls ask me anyway. So I'm giving them answers to you. All right. So number one, I want to just lay this out here. Just keep it a stack, lay it clear. We all want to look slimmer as men as women. You know what I'm saying? Men want to get more aesthetic, have that nice V taper. Women just want to be slimmer, have that nice hourglass. It just is what it is. There's nothing wrong with wanting to change your appearance. There's nothing wrong with like wanting to look a certain way. Like, definitely have your goals. But aside from looking aesthetic, aside from looking a certain way, there are actually health benefits to having a smaller waist, to having a flatter stomach. First things first, it indicates a lower BMI. And a lower BMI just means you're a little bit healthier. You're further away from being obese. Because let's face it, and this is a fact if you want to go online and look it up, if your waist is over 40 inches as a man and 35 inches as a woman, you're more susceptible to having heart disease and type 2 diabetes, as well as many more health issues. Okay, so aside from wanting to look better, it's actually beneficial to have this, thought in your head of slimming your waist, flattening your stomach, because in turn it actually will make you healthier. Okay, and it will pull you further apart from the health risks that I just mentioned. Of course, there are many other health risks that am just not going to label because I could just read a whole fucking book of it. But those two that I mentioned, heart disease and type 2 diabetes, are the pretty like the prevalent. They're really prevalent with people over with men over in a 40-inch waist and women over a 35-inch waist. All right. So let's dive into it right into the meat and potatoes, short and fucking sweet. Three tips to slim your waist. Three tips to slim your waist without training abs. Okay. Tip number one, and this one is I know that for a fact people misuse this one, or they rely too heavily on this one, which is waist trainers, essentially waist trainers. Okay, like whatever, a sweet sweat belt, corsets, or whatever. If you use them correctly, they'll work. If you use them incorrectly, they won't work. So, how do you use it correctly and how do you use it incorrectly? You're probably asking, right? Like, what do I wear it backwards? Is that how I'm using it incorrectly? No, when I say using incorrectly is relying solely on it. So if you just use a waist trainer, but you eat like shit, you don't train, um, you're not hydrated, and you're not health conscious, like you got to understand that waist trainer isn't going to do much for you at all. Okay. And even when you do train properly, even when you do implement your cardio and you watch your nutrition, the waist trainer is only responsible for a small percentage of, slimming down your waist. And the reason why is because the main function isn't actually slimming down your waist. Like waist trainers, in my opinion, don't actually slim down your waist. But what slims down your waist is the appearance of using a waist trainer. So what does that mean? Not while it's on, but while you take it off. Okay. So when you wear a waist trainer, what's it supposed to do? Train your waist, right? But what I've noticed for myself and many other clients and even other athletes is that when you wear a waist trainer, it mainly just trains your posture. So, like, instead of sitting down slouched, if you wear a waist trainer, you're more like your diaphragm isn't going to have the space to just slouch down, right? Because of the way that your organs will be, it'll sort of tuck it in a little bit more, which means your chest is more likely to be up. Your spine's going to have that healthy curve, and that's going to give off the illusion of having a slimmer waist once your posture is actually corrected. So once you take off the waist trainer, assume you use it daily, 4 to 6 hours a day. Again, if you're using it, like say if you're at work or if you're sitting down at like a desk, like how I'm sitting down at a desk in my workstation, I typically wear a waist trainer. Even when I do cardio, actually, I wear a waist trainer just to keep my posture up and get my brain into that motion of or into the pattern of keeping my spine aligned, keeping my chest up, and getting a good posture. Because the less you slouch, the more aesthetic you'll look. Because if your chest is up, your waist like that honestly is how you're supposed to be upright with good posture. Good posture is going to show off your shoulders nicely, show off your taper nicely, and most importantly, show off like a slimmer waist because again, you have better posture. Okay, so waist trainers themselves won't shave inches off your waist, but they'll aid your posture, and your better posture is what's going to give off the illusion of you having a smaller waist. Does that make sense, guys and girls? If that makes sense, drop a fire comment down below in the comments on the live stream if you're watching the live stream, or just nod your head silently if you're listening to the podcast. All right. So tip number one, I already just mentioned it. Waist trainers are not for slimming your waist, but they're actually for posture control. Because when your posture is in control, when you're able to manage your posture, you'll be able to give off the illusion, keyword illusion, of having a smaller waist. Okay, so we just talked about the illusion of having a smaller waist, which is sort of related to posing and posture. But let's talk about what actually slims down your waist, what actually reduces, your visceral fat, or we'll say the fat that is on your abdomen, whether it's your upper abdomen, lower abdomen, generally your abdomen, your stomach, and your love handles. Okay, this one here is called gluten sensitivity. I want you to go get your gluten checked. I know I mentioned this on another podcast maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to mention it again because I know not everybody heard or listened to that podcast or watched the live stream. Go to a doctor and go get it checked out. Your gluten sensitivity. Most of you guys and girls are eating foods that do contain gluten, and you don't know that your body is gluten intolerant. Okay, which is the reason why, even if you're not eating a lot, you always tend to find yourself bloating, or you always notice that your lower abdomen is always descending over your belt buckle because your guts are inflamed because you're not able to process and digest or metabolize gluten. So go get your gluten sensitivity checked, and also stop eating foods that give you gas or inflammation, right? So this does also tie into gluten sensitivity, but this one's going to take a little bit more experimentation, as you'll have to like learn this one as you go. Like you'll know what foods your body responds best to, and you'll also know what foods your body responds worst to when it comes to the production of gas, when it comes to like your inflammation, right? So gluten can give you inflammation, and also many other foods can give you inflammation as well, right? Everybody's different. Everybody's gastrointestinal tract is different. So you're going to have to be a little bit experimental and sort of keep a tab on what inflames your gut and what gives you gas. And also keep a tab on, of course, as I mentioned, going to the doctor and getting your gluten sensitivity checked, and then changing your nutrition based off of what your body works best off of. So we talked about the first tip already, wearing waist trainers for posture control, not to actually slim down your waist. Because personally, I believe they don't slim down your waist. It's the posture benefit that they give you that makes your waist look smaller once you take it off after consistently using it and having it, implemented in your daily routine. And then the second tip that we just talked about right now is getting your gluten sensitivity checked. In conjunction with that, not eating foods that give you gas or inflammation. Could be beans, could be certain types of grains, could be anything, literally, right? So everybody's different. Everybody's GI tract is different. So just make sure that you keep a tab on what gives you gas and what makes you feel uncomfortable, makes you bloat, and X that from your nutrition protocol, or just stop eating that altogether. All right. The last thing, guys and girls, that I want to bring up when it comes to the to three tips to slimming your waist, three tips to, we'll say, shredding the lower abdominal fat and the love handles is thermogenic cardio and thermogenic gym sessions. So, what the fuck does that even mean if you've never heard of the word thermogenic? Honestly, the word thermogenic is just a fancy word for heat, right? Increase of heat. Okay. What I've noticed for myself and for my clients and many other top pro bodybuilding competitors, not even just bodybuilders, but like when I was a wrestler too, this is something that I did to make weight for a lot of the wrestling classes that I competed in and the tournaments, was the more layers that I wore when I was doing cardio, whether it was low intensity steady state or whether it was hit high intensity interval training, I noticed that the more layers of clothes that I wore while I was doing any physical activity, I was able to burn more calories, and also my heart rate would increase, which again relates to burning more calories and burning more fat. And if you're able to get a little bit of a benefit out of the cardio that you're doing, it's worth it, in my opinion. Okay, so thermogenic cardio, what essentially is that? How do you implement thermogenic cardio? What is that? Okay, just long story short, wearing layers with your clothing, wearing layers with your cardio. So it just means an extra sweater, and maybe an extra two sweaters, an extra jogger, an extra two joggers, while you're okay. So just layer up. It's as simple as that, right? So we talked about that. Thermogenic cardio. Let's talk about thermogenic gym sessions. Thermogenic gym sessions essentially is the same thing. Doing workouts with layers of clothes on. Again, your thermal temperature, your core temperature is going to increase, okay? And the higher your body temperature, the more fat you're actually going to burn because your heart rate's going to increase with doing the same physical activity. All right. So keep that in mind. That's definitely a golden nugget. That's definitely a trick that I used, not only in my bodybuilding career, but while I was a freestyle wrestler back a couple of years ago. Okay. It's definitely something you want to implement. Okay. So that's it. That's all. I'm just going to do a little quick recap of the three simple tips, to slim down your waist. And of course, to, get a little bit more aesthetic or a little bit slim if you're a lady. Number one, waist trainers for your posture control. Wear them 4 to 6 hours a day if you're sitting or if you're doing any kind of activity at work, like if you're at work or if you're sitting down, anywhere essentially where you can just squeeze it on for 4 to 6 hours, try your best to throw it in there. Number two, gluten sensitivity check. Go to your doctor, just check out your gluten sensitivity and check out which foods your body responds best to, or which foods your body doesn't respond best to, and stay away from what your body doesn't respond best to. All right, like for most people or some people it could be beans that gives you gas or inflammation, or certain types of grains that gives you gas or certain types of inflammation. So just keep an eye on that and always check with your doctor. Okay, the last tip is thermogenic cardio and thermogenic gym sessions. What is that? What does that mean? We already talked about it. Thermogenic cardio, doing the same cardio that you're doing, hit or list, um, but wearing extra layers of clothing so that you can increase your body temperature. And when your body temperature increases, your heart rate will increase while you're doing that physical activity. And when your heart rate increases, you're going to burn more calories. And when you burn more calories, you're definitely going to burn more fat. All right. Also, it's going to help drop a little bit more water weight temporarily and help tighten that skin. And again, you'll sweat a little bit more. So, those are my golden tips when it comes to shrinking down your waist, getting that more aesthetic V taper look as a guy and as a woman, to help them slim down in the waist area and the love handles area, as well as the front of your stomach, the lower abdominal region. All right. So thank you so much for your attention today. This is the number one podcast for anyone on this planet, country, or nation who wants to make an amazing mental and physical natural transformation. Don't forget to implement at least one thing from this podcast. Remember, information without implementation is just fucking noise. So if you laugh, cried, got any value, motivation, or inspiration from this podcast, share it out to one friend who you know will enjoy it too. Shameless plug. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Matt Butale, Matt space Butale, to see how I live my life outside of social media. And also, if you want to lose 25 pounds and become a natural nomad yourself, which is just to be a part of the Natural Nomad Academy, feel free to DM me and I'll see if you'll be a good fit. Again, I only work with serious people. If you're not serious, I'm going to let you know that you won't qualify, but I'll also tell you what you need to fix in order to qualify. The door won't be 100% closed, but again, just reminding you, you need to be serious. All right. It's been nice chatting. Hope you like what today's topic was about. Natural IFBB Pro Matt signing out. Again, take away one piece of information from this podcast and use it. Okay? All of these are actionable tips that you can start today. All right? So I want you to try it out. Cheers. Peace and love. You know what's good? We out. Boom. Podcast is recorded. You know what's good, people. Superman Unchained says, "Let's go, champ. Great podcast." I appreciate you, dog. Much love, man. Much love. All right, that's it. That's all. We'll be back again tomorrow with the last podcast of the week. Peace and love. We're out. Boom.